Hello, my name is Christopher Lefholtz, and this is the development department's key review pre-video call. Today is September 14th. The key review is on September 15th, 2021, and I will highlight both our performance indicators, key performance indicators, and also update on OKRs as part of this. So the biggest change for us since the last key review is we have updated our primary key performance indicator from MR rate to past due infrastructure dev items. As you can see, we have accumulated these over several months, and we have been working on basically bringing this down. This started in earnest in early August, which is when we started to see a beginnings of a trend, and we have been able to carry that over for the last month. Where we've seen pretty solid progress around this. We're hoping to close out the quarter closer to about 5 issues open that are past due, but we'll have to see how we progress in the coming weeks. Next up is largest contentful paint. This is a change in how we record information. This one is jumped back up, but is still below the threshold. Essentially, we investigated this one and found that there was a measurement issue associated with how we were evaluating this. So where we actually count on the screen as far as when large contentful paint occurs changed during late July and early August. So one of the activities we have is an outstanding issue to investigate how we could potentially fix that so we could have a more measurable outcome as we move forward. So we got some savings back because of changes in our caching system, but then lost it because of where it's actually reflected from a largest contentful paint position. Sales renew, customer satisfaction still remains above 92%, so we're pretty happy there. We next have the open MR review efficiency, which we're going to change to open MR review time because that better reflects what this is actually evaluating. And we're still below the 21-day median, so we're going to keep an eye on this, but we're actually still progressing along from an efficiency perspective. Our retention continues to be solid. It's the same as the last 2 months, so we're looking pretty good there. And then the biggest concern we have is, or not the biggest concern, but one of the concerns we have is in average age of open positions. We're still seeing that accumulate. This has been a real challenge for us. We have several open positions. In part, we are looking to get more recruiting support, and the talent acquisition team is working on basically providing an additional recruiter to help in this situation. So we're looking forward to seeing this number come down in the next, probably not in the next 30 days, but in the next 60 days that we start working this number down. In our regular performance indicators, MR rate is not completely off the list. It is still a performance indicator. August was pretty solid relative to our vacation time, pretty consistent with how we were result in July. As those July and August are 2 months that were heavy in vacation times, we're anticipating that this number rises back up closer to either June or even May timeframe as we roll into September and October. Development handbook MR rate is kind of neutral. We are a little bit lower. I attribute this mainly to the fact that we've been working on a number of things operationally, and also kind of very focused on activities around infrastructure as well as tactical maneuvers, including the daily stand-up. So our handbook update rate is right now lower because of those reasons. Discretionary bonus is another one I'd like to highlight. We're up for the last from July to August, still not close to the 10% goal, but it's a pretty solid number there for our discretionary bonus rate. And then, as I mentioned earlier, our PTO rates for August and then trending for September and October are decreasing. So we anticipate that this might help with our overall MR rate kind of in these months. And I believe that is the last of them. Most of the other ones are pretty standard and look pretty solid. Another one that I'm keeping my eye on is maintainers per MR. We still haven't gotten above our threshold goal, though again, with all the operational challenges, we haven't necessarily focused on this one as much as well. OpenMR age is also above the threshold. We'll look at this, but definitely is lower on our priority than efficiency or review time, just because this is just generally how long all of our OpenMRs have aged from. And we'll want to see how it progresses here in the next month. And that is it for performance indicators. Next, I'll go into OKRs. We're about at the middle of the quarter, and we're behind a little bit in several areas. I largely attribute this to the fact that we have probably not been as diligent in our weekly updates to these OKRs this quarter. Again, all the tactical issues that we had been running through in the infrastructure, as well as the headcount resets, the headcount swarms and other activities have caused us to focus less on these from a management perspective, but we're still making progress on them. In particular, we're about 30% on our ARR objectives. In particular, the foundation for the workspaces is the one that's farthest behind. This is largely due to prioritization work and the managed team to focus on other activities, which feels like the right trade-off at this point. And then in the reliability area, we've made very solid progress in our InfraDev issues. You can see that with the 69%. Error budgets should go up as we see additional areas continue to see improvements through the AppDex. We went from, I believe it was over 20 groups with challenges in the error budgets to 6 in the red with a report just by changing our AppDex score to be 5 seconds versus the 1 second time limit. Big reliability, Big Rock objectives is behind in this view. One thing to note here is that these are the items that we would expect to take the longest. So seeing progress on them early in the OKR isn't as surprising. So we'll continue to monitor this and see how we progress as we get later in the quarter. And then to highlight on the team objectives, pretty consistently moving along on our team objectives, both to complete 360 reviews as well as take the technical writing training. The biggest aspect that we see is the hiring development plan. It says 42%. This feels a little high relative to our overall objectives. So that's one thing that we'll be doing further analysis on as we get the second recruiter on board and we start ramping up. One thing to note here is that we are counting a lot of internal hires. For August, we had 6 internal hires and 2 external, so we had 8, which is actually pretty close to our goal overall. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean we have the growth that we're looking for, because those positions are oftentimes going to then be backfill positions that we have to also fill. So from an objective perspective, I'd like to see us growing at that rate of 8 to 15 in a given month to hit our overall objectives for the year, not 2 versus 6. But it is encouraging to see both lateral as well as promotion improvements for those teams. So we're appreciative of giving folks that opportunity, as well as exciting to see those folks move into those new roles. And that's it for the pre-video call. I now welcome questions for the key review. Thanks, everybody.